Hello everyone, and happy Friday. I like to think of Friday as the beginning of the weekend, so happy almost weekend. Today, what we wanted to discuss, as we're kind of putting some basics into place, fats and oils, kind of the same thing, fats and oils, and some considerations around them that are really important. There's two areas of nutrition that I think can really build us up or break us down and derail us without knowing it, and that's snacking and fats. And mostly because it's the sun, it's a good angle. Mostly because we can, without knowing it, be doing a lot of harm when really a few easy swaps could be important. So 4 areas that I'm going to discuss today: temperatures, so cooking with oils, quality, the variety of nutrients, and storage. So let's start with storage and buying. When you go to the grocery store and you're looking to buy oils, whether it's coconut oil, olive oil, grapeseed oil, what you want to look for is that it is in a glass jar or container, jar or bottle, and ideally you'd want it to be dark and tinted. And the reason for that is fats can go rancid when exposed to oxygen, light, and heat. So dark tinted keeps it from getting lots of light exposure. It's like a protective barrier for the oils, so they last longer, and we don't kind of reduce their healthy properties. I'm hoping my phone doesn't fall. And glass, because if it was plastic, fats can over time absorb the chemicals from plastics. So it's best to go with glass. If you buy in plastic, if you've got some mason jars sitting around at your home, just transfer it into, maybe if it's coconut oil and it was plastic, or olive oil, transfer it into a dark jar or a glass jar, an old mason jar, maybe an almond butter jar, or something that you've got laying around. So that is buying. The next thing I would say is that try to buy organic oils. I know it's difficult, they are more expensive. If it's within your budget and bandwidth, it's a great idea. The better the quality, sorry, the wind got us. The better the quality, the better the oils and the function for them, and they don't carry then exposure from pesticides, etc. So that would be buying oils. And then when you bring them home and they're in your kitchen, there are some storage points. So again, we want to avoid light, heat, and oxygen. So keeping them tightly, keeping them tightly closed up. So I wouldn't allow them to have exposure to oxygen. So lids on tight, and that's the first point. Second would be, I think we all grow up with kind of oils and olive oils next to our stovetops because we use them on the stove, but that's kind of heat exposure, and it could be daily heat exposure. So what I would want to recommend is actually keeping olive oils in a cupboard, so that it's not exposed to heat and that it's not exposed to light either. So a kind of a cool, dark place is best. Fridge is great too. Hello, Miss Mullen. And then, it's even best to keep it in the fridge. When saturated fats will go hard, and that's butter, duck fat, coconut oil, those will go hard in the fridge, but really olive oil wouldn't necessarily go hard in the fridge. So keeping them in the fridge is great. And that kind of goes with, there are oils in nuts and seeds as well. So have you ever tasted you get maybe some roasted nuts, or you get some walnuts from the store from a plastic bag, and it just kind of tastes off, and the oils taste off. It's probably because it's had lots of exposure to light and heat and it has gone rancid. So keeping nuts and seeds, a great place is in the fridge, maybe just a drawer. That's another consideration. And all of these considerations are really important because we don't want to spoil the nutritional properties. So we're trying to preserve the really healthy properties of oils within fats. So that is variety. And then next step would be using different oils for different reasons. And so kind of having a variety. So how can I, let's say, okay, so there are kind of saturated fats, which we would get from things like ghee, duck. I'm really nervous, I'm going to drop this phone. I'm outside with the sun and there's lots of breeze. Okay, so saturated would be anything from an animal, really. So duck fat, ghee, butter, and coconut oil, those would be saturated fats. And those are good saturated fats if they're good quality, organic, and from grass-fed cows and free-range ducks, etc. And then we've got monosaturated fats, monounsaturated fats. And that would be from things like olive oil and avocado oil. And then that's really heart-healthy fat. So that's what you'd get in a Mediterranean diet, from a Mediterranean diet. So that's great. And then, hello Jill. And then next up would be polyunsaturated, which we kind of call PUFAs. And those would be things like omega-3s and omega-6s. Sunflower, walnut, flaxseed, really great for inflammation too. Okay, the breeze is gone, so I'm going to try balancing that again. So using different oils and understanding that they can have different functions in our body. So if you're looking for, maybe you've got rheumatoid arthritis, I would really recommend lots of omega-3s. If you're looking for kind of to optimize blood pressure, reduce blood pressure, I would again focus with omega-3s. So we're going to look for omega-3 oils and use those in different ways. Other things would be fertility. I would definitely go with omega-3s, but I'd also go with some olive oil and avocado oil. So different goals. We would recommend kind of maybe specific oils for you that would be good, or at least getting a broad spectrum and not just focusing on coconut and ghee because those are saturated, but then incorporating monounsaturated and polyunsaturated. So having a bit of a broad spectrum. And it doesn't mean having 10 oils in your house to use, but maybe 1 month you get coconut oil and you get olive oil. And then the next month you try maybe flax oil for your salads and you cook with something like ghee. So getting a broad spectrum, and there's also different flavor profiles as well. So there's the delicious side of it as well. The big thing when it comes to, and then the big thing is what to avoid when it comes to oils. And I would say for the most part, we want to absolutely avoid soybean oil and canola oil, both very inflammatory, even though a lot of kind of things might suggest that canola has omega-3s. Canola and soybean is going to be very genetically modified and refined. So I would avoid soybean, canola, trans fats, those ones, margarines, definitely are the big ones to avoid, but then kind of getting excited and trying out the other great ones. Those are some considerations. Now, in terms of do's and don'ts with cooking, the big consideration with oils, and this is kind of where I think it can build us up or break us down because we don't know and we're not often taught this, is that oils all have a smoke point. Or a burn point. And so I'll give you kind of some examples, but what happens when oils burn, and that would be if you've ever put something in the oven at maybe 400, 425, and you come back half hour later and there's smoke in the oven, or on the stovetop if you're frying something and you kind of start to see smoke in the air. Those fats have burnt, basically. So we don't want to get fats to their smoke point. That is when they can become carcinogenic. And again, not only are they kind of becoming carcinogenic and causing lots of oxidative stress and DNA damage within us, we have completely depleted all the health properties they have. So, oils and which ones are great to cook with. So, I will give you some examples of smoke points. Light olive oil has a smoke point of 465. degrees Fahrenheit. So that would be a great oil to use if you're roasting a chicken or you're roasting veg, things that you want to get crispy and they're going to go at a higher temperature. Maybe it's kind of you're doing baked French fries at home and you want that crispiness. So you've kind of gone to 400, 425. Light olive oil would be great. Extra virgin olive oil has a smoke point of 325. So the difference between extra virgin and light olive oil has had the kind of the health properties, the polyphenols removed from it. Those polyphenols, however, are what would have burned. So in this case, it would be a good idea to use light olive oil for cooking at high temperatures. So light olive oil has a smoke point of 365. Ghee, which is clarified butter, which is something you can easily make at home, has a smoke point of 450. Avocado oil has a smoke point of 375. Grapeseed oil is 390 and duck fat is 375. So light olive oil, ghee, avocado oil, grapeseed and organic duck fat are options that you would use if you're cooking on a stovetop and in the oven at high temperatures. Now, most of the research when it comes to burning and oils becoming carcinogenic is to do with high temperature frying. And that's often because we can never measure the temperature. So bacon, if you kind of start to burn bacon or cook bacon at a really high temperature, that's kind of where the research of when oils become carcinogenic. In the oven, it's better when you are cooking because you can monitor the temperature. So for bacon, for example, if you're going to cook bacon, I do recommend you bake it. You know the temperature you're getting at, rather on a stovetop you wouldn't. Now, so those are options for cooking, and those are the ones I love for cooking. Now, raw, so whether it's raw treats or baking at lower temperatures like 300, baking at kind of medium temperatures, 300, whether it's a banana bread or something, I would recommend olive oil or coconut oil. But maybe you're looking to just kind of put some oils on top of a salad. So maybe you're making a salad dressing, or maybe you're just drizzling onto some steamed veg. That's when I would incorporate things like flax oil, pumpkin seed oil, or walnut oil. Those ones in particular are really high in omega-3s. So using kind of, what I would recommend with clients is if it's within their budget and their bandwidth, to have a cooking oil, and then to have more of a baking oil, and then to have something for raw. So if you're enjoying salads, or again, just using it in raw treats. So that could look like a walnut oil. Maybe 1 month you use lots of walnut oil in your salads, and that would be great for omega-3s. Maybe you've got coconut oil to bake with, and then maybe you've got light olive oil to cook with at high temperatures. And those are considerations. Not only if we're looking at smoke point, and there's great guides, if you Google masterclass smoke point of oils, they've got a great guide, and that's the one I go by. So not only are we trying to not spoil the nutritional properties of oils and fats, we're also trying to get as many benefits as we can and not kind of have them be inflammatory and potentially cause any kind of DNA damage or oxidative stress in the body. And those are the considerations I really look at. I don't go into oils with every client, but those who ongoing maybe are looking at fertility or have really inflammatory conditions and autoimmune conditions, inflammatory conditions like endometriosis and rheumatoid arthritis or joint pain, that's really when I kind of delve into the oils, and we've got the bandwidth too. And then any clients I'm working with ongoing as well, it's something that will definitely come up. And why necessarily do all these considerations matter, and maybe why would we want a broad spectrum, is because fats are really good for us. They help us absorb the nutrients in our food from vitamins and minerals. They're important for brain development. So if you're looking at fertility and preconception nutrition, which is my area of interest, fats are really great for, again, brain development. Not only that, but they reduce our risk of neurological decline, so conditions of dementia. So fats can be great there. It lubricates our joints. literally, as you could kind of think about what your joints need is some oil. Fats are great for that. So joint conditions, rheumatoid arthritis, and inflammatory conditions there. Anything inflammatory related. So that could be, especially for me, I work with a lot of kind of women who have PCOS or endometriosis. That's where I think fats are great as well. Fertility, not only, and then kind of cell membrane fluidity, so allowing nutrients in and out of cells is really important. They also protect the sheath surrounding our nerves, so they're really protective there. But similar to kind of membrane surrounding a cell, our eggs have a membrane as well. So for sperm fertility, where fertility is concerned, for sperm to penetrate through and kind of where fertility is, omegas are great for that as well. You really want a fluid membrane when it comes to our cells, but also our eggs in women. So they are amazing. Fats are great. Different people might benefit from different fats. Cooking is a great consideration. Quality is a good consideration. What's your goal or what are your symptoms? Those are good considerations. And that is my spiel on fats. I think they're one of the best ways to focus our nutrition. So that's again why I love salad dressings and making vegetables taste amazing with good salad dressings, because I think fats are important for nutrient absorption. And then, yeah, that is my spiel. If you have any questions, please let us know. You can shoot us a message on Facebook or Instagram. But that's all for today. Have a great day, a great weekend. Bye, guys.